Alright, what's going on, you guys? Today we are going to go over some more Excel functions that you can use within your spreadsheets to kind of just help you organize information better and look for it quicker. And those functions are VLOOKUP, H-Lookup, and the matching index function. H-Lookup stands for horizontal lookup, where you're looking for information horizontally in your graph. Vertical lookup, which is VLOOKUP, you're looking for it vertically. And matching index helps you kind of get that information after you've done an H-Lookup and a VLOOKUP and kind of pinpoint what you're looking for really fast. Alright, so first we're going to start with H-Lookup. Now, say here we have a list of quarterbacks and all of their stats, right? Say I want to find out how many touchdowns Cam Newton had. Okay, for example. So we would do a H-Lookup for that. Or rather, excuse me, a V-Lookup, because the information is vertical, right? Alright, so we're going to go to the function table and we're going to click V-Lookup. Now, the first thing it's asking for is a lookup value. So that's basically asking us where we're going to type in the quarterback's name. Or in this case, the quarterback's name. So we're going to type it in right here under Aaron Rodgers. Then the table array is asking us what information are we going to use to find our stats that we're looking for. So in this case, we're just going to select the whole table. We're going to use the whole table to look. The column index number is asking you basically how many columns away from the beginning would this information be located. So we're going to count. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 10 columns away from the left. So we put 10 right here, and there's no particular range that we're looking for. We're looking for an exact number. So for this last constraint, we're going to put false and press OK. Now, if you notice, we get this right here, which is saying like not available. It doesn't have the value that we're looking for. Well, it's saying that because that original value that we put for the lookup value, we haven't established that yet. So we're going to go right here and we're going to type in Cam Newton. And as you can see, it populated that Cam Newton has 3 touchdowns. Alright, so that's essentially how you use the VLOOKUP function. Next, we're going to use the H-Lookup function. So essentially, we have our list of quarterbacks again, but now we have them listed horizontally, and we have their stats listed vertically. But again, we're going to search for the number of touchdowns. So let's say we want to do that for Andrew Luck. All right, I will go here right under Antonio Brown, and I will pick this empty cell, and I will click our function button and go to H-Lookup. Now, again, the lookup value is just asking where we're going to put the particular name, in this case, of the quarterback whose information we're looking up. So we will put that right here. The table array is asking where our information is located. So we're just going to click the whole table again, because this is basically where all of our information is. So next we have to establish the row index number in our table. So essentially that's asking what row are we referencing to get our lookup value from, and that would be row 10. Alright, so instead of clicking on anything in Excel, we would just type the number 10, and again for range lookup we're looking for an actual value, so we would just put false again and then press OK. Now we said we were looking for Andrew Luck, so we would just type Andrew Luck's name in there, and there we go. We see he has 13 touchdowns. And essentially that's pretty much how you do an H-Lookup value. Alright, last but not least, we're going to do a match and index function, which essentially is kind of similar to doing an H-Lookup and a V-Lookup. They all pretty much go hand in hand, except this case you can use the information that you find with your match functions, and then you can index it and use it to get your numbers quicker. So right here you see we have a list of basketball players, and we have their stats from their points to the minutes to their steals, blocks, assists, etc. So let's say we want to find stats on Michael Jordan. All right. So what we could do is we could do a match function. Now, to do a match function, what we would do is we would go to an empty cell, we would click on function, and we would click match. Now, it's going to ask for a lookup value just like our other functions did. So let's say for the lookup value, we want to find a particular player's stats, like how many minutes they played. So we would type that player's name right there, so that's our lookup value. The lookup array is asking what information we're going to use to ascertain whose name we're using. So we would go down here and highlight all of our players, because that's the information database that we're using to essentially get our players, right? If that makes sense. And the match type, you can either use 1, 0, or -1, and that indicates which value to return. We're going to use 0 because 0, in this case, Excel recognizes that we want an exact value. 1 or -1 is only used when you want something in relation to that value that's either higher than or lower than or more than less than, if that makes sense. So we're going to click OK. And once again, you see we get that hashtag not available. So it's basically saying that it doesn't have a value for us yet, which is fine, because we're going to go up here and we're going to type a player's name. In this case, we're going to use Michael Jordan, best basketball player of all time. All right. And you see that it matched that. Relative to the information we gave, it shows that we didn't start at A1, we started at A2. So if we go down three columns, I guess, or 3 rows, whichever it is, then we see Michael Jordan is technically the third one. All right. Now, we're still trying to look for the number of minutes and everything. So next, we're going to do another match function similar to how we did here. So we're going to click on the function button again. We're going to go to match, lookup value. It's going to go right here because now we're looking for points. The lookup array is going to be the points for the players that we have, the 20 some odd players that we have. We're going to click that. Oh, my bad, it's a mistake. Lookup array. And the match type, we want an exact value, so we're going to go with 0. Okay, so again, we got that gibberish or whatever that Excel gives when it doesn't have a value. But we go over and we see Michael Jordan played 41,000 minutes. So we can just go type here, and thus again it went down in that particular column, I guess that would be, and it showed that Michael Jordan is number 3. 1, 2, 3, right there. So now let's say we were trying to index that 41,000 minutes, and we had a separate space where we're supposed to put our final answer. So at that point, we would do an index function. We would go up to function, click index, and it's asking us what information we want to use to basically our arguments list, what info we're going to use to index all of our data. So we're going to use the array, the row, the number, the column, and any other number constraints at once, and press OK. So the array that it's asking for is essentially what data are we going to use to index this. So we're going to click all of our data. Now it wants to know the row number. Well, we used a match function and we got that earlier. So, oh, all these mistakes. Not really, but okay. Row number, we found that already. So we can just click it and use it again. And then it wants a column number. Well, that was something we found earlier as well. So now we can just click that too. And our index function will be generated. So as you see, we use the match function to match specific pieces of information to Michael Jordan, and we used Excel functions to pluck that information right out of where we needed it. So if you can imagine, if this was 200 or 300 NBA players, all we would have to do is just use a match function and click that player's name and just make sure that the whole list of people is selected as the array, and Excel would do all the hard work for us. It gave us the number of minutes played, it generated our row and our column, and then if we had to put this way at the bottom of the spreadsheet, we could use an index function and it would index the information that we already found using the match functions. Alright, so we basically went over VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and match functions.